back with Senator Joe Manchin from West Virginia, a Democrat. Senator, thank you so much for sticking around. On Obamacare, did you believe the president when he said many times that if you like your plan, you could keep it, if you like your doctor, you could keep it? Were you buying that?
Well, I think the way it was explained, everyone would have assumed that that was the case, but I don't, you'd like to think that that was not the intent. How that could have been said knowingly, that if you didn't meet certain criteria, you couldn't keep the plan you had, and I think people had known that. It should have been explained much better. I think it really hurt credibility all the way around.
We got a Facebook question here from John. He asks, have you and your staff signed up for
We're all on the Washington exchange. We all are in a D.C. exchange, everyone, myself, my whole staff, yes.
Charles.
Senator, the answer you gave on entitlements was quite at odds with what your party leadership would say. You're ready to make reforms, and they really aren't. You've been appalled by the overreach of the EPA, particularly their war on coal in your state. You have real issues with Obamacare, and with a president who's run up the largest deficits in American history. You are a man who takes the deficit seriously.
Yes.
So my question is, why don't you fess up and become a Republican?
Well, there's still responsible Democrats around the country.
Are there? Well, you're one of them.
And you know,
can you name three?
I can name a lot of West Virginians. It's just common sense, and we've never put our colleagues in a difficult position. I've never tried to say something derogatory about my Republican friends. I've always tried to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I always tried to work with them. I think it's a way. I believe deeply in my Democratic roots as far as a West Virginian. Might be a little different than the Washington Democrats, but it's a true hardcore West Virginia Democrat values. And I respect my Republican friends who have their strong West Virginia Republican values. We've always put our state first, Charles. We can't understand if you've got such a problem as a debt, and we know debt is crippling, debt will destroy you. And the decisions we're making on the, as Bret, as you mentioned, on the retirement, on the coal adjustment for our retired service people.
Military, yeah.
Yeah, you hope that never have to be made. You make that because you make cowardly decisions when you have unmanaged debt. So you've got to come together and say, this is greater than our parties. It's greater than me politically or my Senate future. It's for the country.
But let me ask that in a less confrontational way. I understand your roots are Democratic, of course, but wouldn't you say that given the view that you have of the world of governance, your values, and how government ought to be run, wouldn't you see them as closer to what the Republicans are advocating than what your own party does?
I think mine's pretty much, I'm right in the middle. I'm centrist, as about as centrist as you can get. I don't begrudge anybody for the stance they take. I'm very fiscally responsible and conservative. I'm socially compassionate, and I don't always go to the bottom line. I always root for the underdog. So whatever that makes me, that's what I am. The bottom line is I've never gotten anything done by calling my colleague a name or derogatory or putting him in a box they couldn't get out of or sending him home unprotected. Leadership can't let that happen.
George.
Senator, there are 55 counties in West Virginia, and Mitt Romney carried every one of them, in part because of the president's well-advertised and candidly professed war on coal, which he conducts entirely through the executive branch. Is there anything that the marginalized legislative branch under this government can do to stop that?
Well, we're doing everything I can. I'm reaching out to my Democratic colleagues. It's hard getting the support I need with that. And fossil fuel here, anything I've said, the facts are what they are. 8 billion tons of coal being burnt in the world.
But let me just be clear. Do you think the Obama administration is trying to kill coal?
Oh, I definitely believe that they are not in favor, and there is a war on coal. They do realize that they have to have it because the Department of Energy, the EIA, the Energy Information Agency, says that basically fossil will be needed for the next 2 to 3 decades. But why? They're trying to shoot themselves in the foot and being in denial. And there is a war going on that we're fighting, and it's survival right now. And really the dependency, the reliability of the grid system depends on whether we're going to be successful or not. And we're fighting it.
I want to ask you also about how the problems with Obamacare affect other legislative business, particularly immigration. Obamacare has given us a new form of government, the kind of serial revision of settled statutes by executive fiats and waivers and all the rest. Given this, why would any Republican vote for an immigration bill knowing that the president can and very likely would waive any part or all of it as suited him.
Well,
I mean, aren't you in a legislative branch? You fight to get
yes,
to
I mean,
Washington,
we are.
and
We're
it's
fighting that all the
marginalized.
time. And I'm sure the lack of trust and the disgust that goes on there is high on all ends. The bottom line is you have 11 million people, George, and what we have said, I'd rather those people pay their fine, get in the back of the line, learn English, pay taxes, or using the system anyway. Deport the people that come here illegally and commit a crime on top of that. But I know the purists that basically they got here illegally, ship them back out. That's not a reality that we're going to be facing, and we've got to do something.
Juan, I promise you'll start next time.
It's a deal.
All right, Senator, thanks so much for your time on Senator Seat. I really appreciate it.